after today's race, we will officially be a third of the way through the season here in the 2024 Wawa Cup Series. And finally, we're back on the mile and a half, back on the speedway, back on the intermediate, and the ratings and the speeds of these cars are going to come into effect, and we're going to start seeing it as the season rolls along. We are here at the Texas Motor Speedway, and this track much better here in the game than it is in real life, so we're in store for a good one here on this Saturday afternoon. It's the Interstate Batteries 400 here, the 10th race of the season in the 2024 Wawa Cup Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Texas Motor Speedway. We are here for the 10th race of the season, and oh boy, what a season it has been so far. 9 races, 9 different winners. If you want to count the Smooth Fest, we're 10 for 10. But I don't know, we might finally get ourselves our first multi-time winner here today. But we got a lot of strong drivers up front, and we have seen a lot of these guys who are starting up front run well this season. A lot of them have already gone to victory lane. But this is going to be one of those races where I think we're going to see certain drivers that are going to be running well the whole season run well here today. So this could very well be a benchmark for what we see the rest of the season. And you know what, Caleb? It's been quite even across the field so far this year, at least compared to last year. We've yet to have a multi-time winner. But if you look at the point standings and you see all the guys who have won races this season, only 3 of them are outside the top 10 in points. The other 6 are all top 10. So these guys who are winning races are actually running very consistently. Do you think we're going to see a lot of the guys who have won this season continue to run well and maybe run well here today?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, especially how this race plays out, because, yeah, like you said, we're really starting to see the ratings come to fruition. We're seeing a lot of these guys that we usually see up towards the front stay at the front, you know, such as like Blaine Keys, Matt Tuck, they're on the second row. You've got Trey Bartow up here in the top 10 as well. We've consistently seen those guys up front so far this season, and now that the ratings are really come to fruition, we're really seeing them stay up front. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting race here today. It's going to be a pretty long race, and it's a lot better than Texas in real life, so we should see a lot of passing as well here today. And something that also should probably come up in this race is strategy. Last year, it went green until the pit cycle, and then after we had a caution, but I don't know, it'd be interesting to see if this thing does go caution-free. This race is all going to come down to strategy here, so it's all going to be interesting to see unfold.
It's going to be very fascinating because we're only going to have the 1 pit stop this year because this race is shorter than what it was last year. Only 67 laps here today compared to the 84 we had a year ago. And it's going to be interesting to see how that 1 pit stop does affect the field. Of course, if we get a caution at the right time, it could become a 2-stop race, but about a 40-lap fuel run for these guys. And it's a difficult pit lane to get down here. Very tough transition off the exit of turn 4 down that pit lane. It's going to be interesting to see if they have a clean cycle, because if not, that can really turn the race over on its head. We saw that at Homestead. We saw that at Phoenix. We could see that here today at the Texas Motor Speedway. Point standings here are very interesting. Thomas Troxell's been kind of the dominant driver this season. He's got a 19-point lead on the field. Brian Webb there, 19 points behind him. Our Rockingham winner, Trey Bartow, is 24 points behind. He starts top 10 here today. And our last winner, Jack Haas, only 31 points behind. Rogeldorn has also won this season. He's 34 behind. And our pole sitter, Angel Gutierrez, 37 behind, also has gone to victory lane. Daniel Paulus Jr., another winner, is 49 behind with Matt Tuck in between Gutierrez and Paulus. And you got Mardi Gras and Blaine Keys, who won this race last year. He's top 10 in points coming into this thing. Drew Webb also knocking on the door for that top 10. Of course, he had a great run in Martinsville last week. And then you also got Sam Odoskin, Justin Zidell, Nicholas Sambadio right behind that line. Next week, we're going to actually show you the playoff picture going through those next 10 races and really show how it ends up shaking out. But there are definitely certain guys that we see up there, like Troxell, like Bartow, like Jack Haas, who I think are going to have a pretty good chance of making the chase. Brian Webb's been a little shaky as of late, but he's still sitting there pretty in second in the point standings. We're just going to have to see how it all ends up shaking out for him. But we'll go ahead and get these guys to roll off. Angel Gutierrez starting on the pole position here today in the 36 alongside Braden Perez. You got Matt Tuck and Blaine Keys there in row number 2. And hey, both of these guys could very well be a huge threat to win this race here today. How about Bruno Giacomo? Hasn't been a good season for him so far, at least in terms of the points races. He did win the Smooth Fest back in February. Our Atlanta winner to the outside of him there of Daniel Paulus Jr. You know, different racetracks, but still a mile and a half, and still that speedway rating that comes into play. Bryce Egan, he's shown a lot of flashes of brilliance, I should say, lately. Of course, he's not been able to really capitalize on those good runs, but he's been running up front in a few of these races to the inside of Trey Bartow there in row number 4. And then you got Chase Buck and Travis Crampton making up row number 5. Let's go ahead, get these guys to roll off here from the Texas Motor Speedway. And Caleb, this is a very strong top 10 running order, and of course we'll see some of these guys back in the field who are starting on the inside lane move up to the field as well. Who do you think is going to get it done here today in this Interstate Batteries 400?
Honestly, I think I know exactly who I'm going to go with here. I'm going to go for the 41 of Blaine Keys. Blaine Keys has been really strong so far this season. He's shown a lot of speed. Hasn't got the win yet so far this season, but he won this race last season for Dracoan Racing Enterprises, so you know that he knows how to get it done here. I think he's going to be the one that gets it done here today.
And of course, remember what happened in Las Vegas. He was the dominant driver there before he had an issue while leading the race. You know, I completely forgot about that. We had that whole nonsense happen well before that Bristol race. So, hey, it's been a common theme this year. We'll have to see if it ends up going here this week. Of course, we've seen a couple of last lap passes already here at Texas. Of course, no issues from the race leaders in those 2 races, but hey, maybe you don't want to be the race leader coming to the white flag here this week. And honestly, who wants to be, given how this Wawa Cup Series season has been? Well, Angel Gutierrez was the beneficiary of one of those races. He starts on the front row looking for his 2nd win of the season. Brain Perez trying to rebound a little bit here and get himself up there, and Matt Tuck trying to ride a momentum from his good run last week. It's anyone's game here at Texas, and it's only 67 laps to determine a race winner. Here we go, pace car down the pit lane. We're green flag racing in the Interstate Batteries 400. Getting a little squirrely there, but they are going to keep it together on lap 1. They were 3 wide off the exit, and we saw in the Elimination Series race on Monday that not be a good thing. Bruno Giacomo with a very aggressive move right there to the inside of Matt Tuck and Brain Perez, but it's Gutierrez who's going to lead lap number 1 here at the Texas Motor Speedway. You got Daniel Paulus Jr., Bryce Egan, Braden Perez here on the inside as well. Blanky's found the inside. You know, the inside lane is generally the place to be, but if you find the right line, there is some grip up there on the outside lane here at Texas.
Why you say that? It's still early on in the going, so I don't know.
Bruno Giacomo looking to the inside for the race lead here on Angel Gutierrez, and it looks like Giacomo's going to get it right here, and that inside lane through 3 and 4 is exactly where you want to be. And he is going to make that pass look easy. Of course, Giacomo got the win in the Smooth Fest, but since then hasn't really shown too much success here in the series. Of course, Blaine Keys, he's up to the 5th position now. Your pick to win there, Caleb. How about Chase Buck, Brady Mardigan, and our last winner of Jack Oz? A lot of our past drivers who have had some recent success just outside the top 10 right here. How about Perez there for 2nd as Giacomo pulling away for the home team, Trinity River Racing.
Man, Giacomo really fired off well there, and he's with the race lead. Giacomo not really been the best after he won the Smooth Fest there, but he's really showing some speed here today as Braden Perez moves his way up to 2nd. Bryce Egan up to 3rd. Nice to see that 69 having a good run so far. Like you said, I think he's also really shown some flashes of brilliance so far this season, but he always just seems to get caught up in bad luck. So really nice to see him running well here today. Same for the 32, Chase Buck. He's had a really rough start to the season, especially compared to last year. He's running up inside here in the top 10 as well.
Of course, another guy who's had a rough season, Ludovic Charette in the 51. Of course, the expectations were high for Ludovic coming into this season after what he did last year in the Andrews car, moving over to Grattan Autosport, one of the best teams in the series. They've had a lot of bad luck to start this season off, but he's running top 10 right now, and he's run well in a lot of these races. He just hasn't been able to close it out. Matt Tuck fell outside the top 10, but he's back on the inside there. Trey Bartow there as well. And here's a couple of guys I know we want to focus on. We always focus on them, of course. Nicholas Samadeo in the 59. You know, this is a guy I'm waiting for his first win here in this series. And, man, it almost came a few weeks ago at Bristol when you were in the booth with me there, Caleb, and we all know what happened there. But Samadeo, obviously a guy we expect to make the chase this season, and right now he's 14th in the points, so he needs some good runs here, he needs some consistency, and this is a place where you can start building that consistency. Of course, next week we're at Talladega, so next week doesn't count, but then we got Dover, we got Kansas, we got Auto Club, and we got North Wilkesboro there, so we got some speedway tracks here where these guys can definitely get some good runs going, and we'll have to see how it ends up shaking out in the next few weeks. In terms of the lead, we got Braden Perez looking to the inside of Bruno Giacomo. They're side by side off the corner. You got Daniel Paulus Jr., Bryce Egan, and Gutierrez, the top 5 right now. They're side by side for the race lead on lap 8.
Perez, he's gonna have a little bit of help on that inside lane from Daniel Paulus Jr., and looks like he's finally going to clear the 28 down the front straightaway. And here comes Paulus Jr. to the inside of Giacomo. Egan's going to try to follow suit in behind. Yeah, starting to see a lot of these guys. It's almost kind of like a mixed bag out front. You've had these guys that are consistently out front so far this season, like Daniel Paulus Jr., Angel Gutierrez, and Matt Tuck. And then you've also got those guys who have shown flashes of potential but have really struggled so far this season, like Giacomo, Charette, Egan. It's really interesting battling up front here, as now Charette has made their way up into the top 5, and now they're going for 4th on the 28. Giacomo's falling back a little bit on that outside.
Giacomo, who was out front by quite a bit there, lost the lead. Braden Perez was able to take it away right there. And, you know, Braden Perez has also kind of had a rough start to his season. 17th in points right now, a little ways behind the cutoff, but race victory puts you in the wild card race, and I know that's exactly what Perez wants. And for Daniel Paulus Jr., he already has a win in the season. Kind of fell back a little bit there and had a top 10 run, only his second top 10 last week at Martinsville, and he's looking to back that up with another strong run here for Trackhouse Racing. And I don't think it's much of a surprise to see him run well here on these mile-and-a-half racetracks. I think this team is a lot better than what a lot of people think they might end up being. And you know what? Daniel Paulus Jr. has taken advantage of this opportunity this season. Of course, got his first career win on the channel at Atlanta, and he continues to run well here in the Wawa Cup Series. Matt Tuck and Ludovic Charette, at least at the moment, both running quite well. About to crack the top 6 there for Matt Tuck on Angel Gutierrez. Can't quite do it yet. We also got the 47 of Brady Mardigar, who's also had a very strong season there at Hamill Racing Enterprises, and his teammate Rogel Dorn has also been very strong as well. Jack Kaiser, last winner there in the 39 machine. LJ Semedo trying to rebound after what happened to him last week. Was up there in that top 5 in Martinsville, and then got caught up in that cool-down lap crash with Troxel and Kirsten Bell and all those guys. Well, there's Kirsten Bell. She won at Las Vegas, our last mile-and-a-half that we had on the schedule. And there's Barto, there's Sam Medeo. A lot of strong guys here right inside that top 15. The Oliveira there, Travis Cranston. You got Rogel Dorn trying to battle with those guys. There's the Homestead winner of Avery Alford, Roberto Crown Jr. And how about Drew Webb, who started dead last in this race, by the way? He is about to crack the top 20 halfway through the field in only 13 laps. Blaine Keys slipping back in the 41. We got 3 wide. Oh, no. Drew Webb and Seth Cole through the tri-oval. Are they going to save it? No, they won't. Seth Cole on the outside wall with Justin Zidell and Philip Torres.
Oh, man.
And that could have been a lot worse. We saw a way worse wreck on Monday. Drew Webb saved it in the 99, and the race back to the line is going to go to Braden Perez in the 23. And if you're Justin Zedell, Philip Torres, you're not happy with Seth Cole right there. That 48 got to the inside of Drew Webb, clipped him there through the tri-oval, and Seth Cole just came up and merged right back at the wrong time. But how about Drew Webb? You got to give a lot of credit to Drew there in that situation. That's why he's a Wawa Cup Series champion right there. And for a guy who's just outside the top 10 coming into this race, he doesn't want to lose any more points. He wants to get in that top 10 and solidify his spot in the Wawa Cup Series chase and have a shot at the championship once again. Here we go. They're going to come down the pit lane right here, but they're not going to be able to make it from here on out. Like I said, about a 40-lap fuel run for these guys here today. So what will these guys do? Will the tire wear be significant enough for these guys where they take tires? And this isn't the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, so odds are they will be taking tires here on this stop. Braden Perez leading us down the pit lane here on lap 15 and lap 16.
It's really going to be interesting to see what these guys do. I think they will probably take tires because we're almost about halfway into a pit run. And yeah, it looks like everybody is at least going to be taking a couple tires here. Looks like everybody will be taking 4.
Ladovic Charette already off his pit stall, same with Bryce Egan, but it will be Braden Perez winning the race off. Good stop there at a Ladovic Charette. Jack Haas moving his way up through the field. You know, this is a team to watch out for this season. After what they did in Martinsville last week, I mean, he took himself out and still won the race. You know, that's a sign of a good team right there. And you got Daniel Paulus Jr., Angels Gutierrez, Brady Mardi Gras, Matt Tuck, Bruno Diacomo, and Kirsten Bell. Hey, good stop for you guys. Not going to say anything else other than that because we all know what happened the last time you were in the booth with me for a cup race. All right, Braden Perez, your race leader here at Texas. Everyone's come down. Seth Cole taking out Philip Torres and Justin Seidel. Let's see what happened to bring out the first caution of the day here in the Interstate Batteries 400 at Texas. Well, this right here, we saw this on Monday in the Elimination Series race, and Philip Torres just doesn't have enough room to get out of line. And Seth Cole just slides up in the Drew Webb. A 99 machine, though. Thankfully for Drew, he saved it. But Seth Cole could not say the same. And unlike in that Elimination Series race, that first car that got spun was able to keep it on the racetrack. And that's why this wreck here wasn't as bad as it was on Monday. But Seth Cole here in the 48, that's just not a good angle. And couldn't straighten it up in time as Justin Seidel and Philip Torres get in the way. Just those 3 cars involved in this accident. You see Drew Webb there, had plenty of space to get back in line, and then of course the caution ended up coming out right there. Such a tough break for Justin Seidel and Philip Torres. They had nothing to do with that, and yet they get caught up, and they're going to get sent to the back of the field. Ironically, though, no one's going to get knocked out, and everyone is still on the lead lap. Actually, a mild accident, all things considered, which is good to see, considering the speeds that they were going there in the turn number 1.
And you're going to see right here, Seth Cole's going to make it 3 wide off of turn number 4, just barely going to get into the quarter panel of Webb. Webb spectacularly is going to save it and get back on track safely, but Seth Cole doesn't quite able to do it and comes right up into the path of Seidel and Torres. Really unfortunate for them. Like you said, they were just completely innocent bystanders in all of that, and unfortunately, that's going to give each of them a little bit of damage and send them to the back of the field. But coming back to the line, Braden Perez is going to lead. Have to see what he can do here.
And of course, he also won the race off the pit lane as well, so we'll have to see. Will Mr. Stelia win? Still won here at Texas. Still got a long ways left to go here in this Interstate Batteries 400. Let's see how it all goes down at the Texas Motor Speedway. We're back here at the Texas Motor Speedway here on a Saturday afternoon. It's actually Saturday morning here in the Lone Star State, if you want to be technical, but here on the East Coast where Wawa is based. We're here probably about 12:20 p.m. and maybe 12:23. I think we're at 12:23. I might be wrong with that, but hey, regardless of the fact, Braden Perez doesn't care what time it is. He cares that he's the race leader, and definitely looking like one of the contenders to win this one. You got Bryce Egan in second, who's had a lot of great runs, but just hasn't been able to finish them off. And then here we go. Ladovic Charette, Jack Haas, Daniel Paulus Jr., Angel Gutierrez, Brady Mardi Gras, Matt Tuck, Bruno Diacomo, Kirsten Bell, and there's Nicholas Samedeo in 11th. I think these are a lot of guys that we're going to see run very well throughout this season. It's going to be very interesting to see how this race plays out, and if those guys who end up doing good in this race end up running well as the season goes along, because I think there's a great possibility of that. And, you know, Jack Haas, Daniel Paulus Jr., Angel Gutierrez are 3 guys who have run very well this season and have all gotten race victories. In terms of drivers out of the race, it's nobody, ironically. Everyone's still on the lead lap after that accident. As Perez leads us to the green flag. Good single file start for those guys as they head into turn number 1.
What, either Jack Haas there did not get going, the top 3 got going, or it was a little bit of both. But here comes the 69. Bryce Egan looking to get to the inside of Braden Perez. Charette's going to go down to the inside with him. Perez trying to hold his own there on the outside. They're going to be side by side down the front straightaway at the line. Egan's barely going to get it at the line. Big run coming from the 39 of Jack Haas. We'll see where he goes. He's going to go to the middle-ish, it looks like. But Egan's going to clear for the lead, and Perez is actually going to get a run on the outside of Charette and stay in second.
Yeah, Good run for Bryce Egan. He's had a great pit stop. His pit crew came in clutch right there for him to keep him in that top 5. But Braden Perez has got another shot right here. I think he'll peek to the inside. How about Jack Haas here, looking to go 2 in a row? And of course, Evans Ross Racing, these guys, I feel like they're going to be one of the better teams this year. They've already got both of their drivers in the victory lane. Of course, Kirsten Bell won in Las Vegas, and Jack Haas won last week. Of course, Jack Haas having a much better season in terms of consistency, 4th in points coming into this one. They're still side by side here. We got Braden Perez making a move back on Bryce Egan. And we've seen a lot of side-by-side battles off the exit of the corner here throughout the week. And these guys, they stay side-by-side coming to the line sometimes. But then Perez, he's got that push there from Ludovic Charette, pulling away right there. And the 51 trying to find a nose to the inside, and he's going to take it.
Got it.
And that 51, you know he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's actually never won before in the Wawa Cup Series, which is kind of hard to think about. We talk so much about Ludovic Charette. Obviously won the Truck Series Championship last year. Got a truck win at Charlotte, but it's his only win on the channel. Looking for win number 2 on his career here today. And he's got the race lead here on lap 22.
Great move there by the 51 of Charette to get to the race lead. But, yeah, like you said, we've talked so much about Ludovic Charette the past 2 seasons in the Cup Series. It's actually kind of baffling they haven't won yet. But honestly, I think Charette might kind of be in the same boat as Nicholas Samadillo. At this point, they've shown so much speed throughout these 2 seasons that I don't really think it's a matter of if anymore. It's probably going to be a matter of when they are able to get it done. But right now, it's looking pretty good for the 51 of Charette. And Nicholas Samadillo sneaked his way up into the top 10 here. And not going to elaborate any further.
Yeah. How about Rogel Dorn in the 74? Obviously won COTA. Had a great run at, I forget which track. He had a great run in Atlanta before he got messed up by your guy, Logan Williams, there in that one. But this is definitely a guy who's been very consistent and definitely going to be a championship favorite, I feel like, a championship contender. At least. He's 34 behind, 5th in the standings. Obviously got the win at COTA. And definitely you got to watch out for. I mean, that whole Hamill Racing Enterprises team, they're definitely one of the better teams with Mardi Gras. They're also running well week in and week out. 9th in the points coming into this one. Jack Haas to the inside of Braden Perez. You know, I like what I'm seeing now because we're seeing a lot of the guys who are up there in points run top 10. But ironically, one guy who is not having a good race is our points leader, Thomas Troxel. Of course, Troxel's good on the short track, so he had a stretch right there with those short tracks, and I think he gained a lot of momentum from that. Speedways aren't necessarily the forte for Pacific Racing, and we're seeing that right now as they're both outside the top 20. Logan Williams is in the top 20. Gutierrez fell back in the 36. He got shuffled out of line, and he's down to the 18th position. Laura Chung there, who had a great run at Rockingham. She's in 17th. Blaine Keys is 15th there, looking to save 14th from Alfred. Bartow also fell back a little bit there, a Rockingham winner, but trying to rebound. So many guys, you know, they're just shuffling around, but we're seeing certain guys kind of stay up front. You know, Daniel Paulus Jr. still in this top 5, and look at this now. Braden Perez trying to close in on Ludovic Charette right there. You got Jack Haas also trying to close in, and you got Brady Mardi Gras here in the top 5, and hey, don't count out Nicholas Samadillo, who has gone up this entire race, basically. He is now in the 7th position behind Bryce Egan, trying to find himself in a position to possibly get this race a win. We'll have to see if that ends up happening. Paulus to the inside of Jack Haas. That's for 3rd, but Jack's finding that groove on the outside lane, and that's something that we've seen throughout this week on that outside lane through 1 and 2. And Jack Haas getting a huge run right now, pinning that 24 on the inside.
This is honestly something we saw in the IndyCar race as well. You can make both lines work. It's honestly kind of a toss-up when they go into the corner, which line's going to come out on top, but we really saw it there. Jack Haas with a really good run on the outside of Daniel Paulus Jr., who's able to hold 3rd. Now on the back bumper of Braden Perez, looking to potentially take 2nd away. And looking back here, Brady Mardi Gras on the 47. He's caught up to all these guys. He's now trying to get to the inside of Paulus, and he looks like he's going to get it here on the 24. That 47 might be one to watch out for here.
You know what? He might have a bit of a chip on his shoulder from losing on Monday. Got passed in the last lap there by Matthew Hubert in that Hers Elimination Series race. Almost got his first career win on the channel, and he didn't get it. We'll see where Matthew Hubert is running here today. And of course, won that race, and he's ahead of Thomas Troxel midway through the field right there in the 0. Now, Hubert had a lot of great runs early on in the season. He has fallen off quite a bit since that, though. Lost 5 positions in the points last week in Martinsville. And he currently sits in the 16th position in the point standings, and also, he's 22nd on the racetrack. Troxel trying to rebound, trying to move his way through the field here in the 62, trying to hold on to that points lead. Brian Webb's another guy who's had a lot of consistent runs early on in the season, but he's also midway through the pack here, and maybe we're starting to see the tide turn a little bit. Maybe the Trey Bartos, the Jack Haas, the Rogel Dorns, Angel Gutierrez, they might be starting to be the better drivers as the season goes along. And you know what? Look at this 39 machine here. A huge one on Ludovic Charette, and he's going to try to peek it on turn number 1. And not going to be able to do it quite yet as Ludovic Charette holds the inside. Man, these guys are right on each other. And that 39, though, is definitely one of the fastest cars on the racetrack right now.
That was a huge run by the 39 of Haas, but Charette was able to get down to the bottom quicker than the 39 could and block that run. See, as they come off at turn number 4, Charette got a little bit of a better run there. It's going to pull away a little bit back here. Daniel Paulus Jr. really falling back on the outside. He probably did not have a good 3 and 4 there, and he's going to lose a spot to Egan, Samadillo, and Tuck. And here comes the 74 as well of Rogel Dorn trying to capitalize on this. At 24, I don't know what's wrong with him, but he's really falling back here as Dorn's going to sail by. And now here comes Giacomo and Oliveira. But a top 3 now, potentially looking to try and pull away from the rest of the field here. Marty Gar trying to stick with them, but I think these top 3 might be some of the quickest cars on the racetrack right now.
And I think another thing that's important to point out, I didn't mention this at the top of the show, but we got a pretty big fall off here at Texas. Maybe about 2.5, 3 seconds a lap, which isn't as significant as Rockingham, but if you don't save your tires early on in the run, you might end up like Daniel Paulus Jr., and I think that might be what's going on, because he did run it very hard early on to keep in the top 5, and now he's starting to slip back, and I think Sam Idio also got passed right there. I mean, you just get stuck in the outside lane with these worn tires, and you're just going to go back through the field, and I think that's what's going on with some of these guys, not necessarily meaning that they're slower than the cars that are passing them in those situations. Rogel Dorn, though, definitely a strong driver. I think this is a guy who definitely knows how to save his tires and be good at the end of the run, because he is moving his way through the field, up now to the 7th position there. And Matt Tuck's been able to stay in the top 10 pretty much this entire race, trying to back up that strong run he had last week at Martinsville. But his teammate, Ludovic Charette, once he got the race lead, he has not looked back since, and he's holding on barely ahead of this 39. It's looking pretty good for Ludovic Charette, and now we're past halfway in this race. The window is open to make it to the end. We're expecting these guys to come down maybe about 14 laps from now or so. It's going to be very interesting to see. We got ourselves about a 40-lap fuel run for these guys. They will have to come down again before this race is over. They're not going to be able to make it on fuel, so the strategy could very well come into play here as we move through in this race. Jack Haas trying. He's all over the back bumper of this 51, but nothing there for him. And these top 4 are pretty much all on each other, trying to stay in line with that 30 or 51, I should say, to get this race win.
Man, yeah, all these guys are going at it. Yeah, you saw there, Jack Haas had to check up just a little bit, probably got in the wake of the 51, and Charette had to back off a little bit. Trying to catch back up now is Braden Perez, and the 23 might be falling off a little bit now. He might have used up his stuff, as now he's fallen into the clutches of the 47 of Brady Mardi Gras. Back here, Matt Tuck's going to sail by the 69 of Bryce Eakins, 74 of Rogel Dorn also trying to do the same. Nicholas Samadillo right behind them. We're seeing some guys back there also trying to make their way through back through the field. Blaine Keys, Drew Webb, or Chung as well.
Webb. He started dead last, He had an engine failure in qualifying, and he's moved up 29 positions in this race, which is quite remarkable. And he might get into the top 10. And after what happened last week, he finished 2nd in Martinsville. I think we're starting to see Drew Webb now get his good runs, and he's not quite there yet. But keep in mind, his first win last year was Kansas in May. He didn't win a race until race 14 of the season, ended up winning 6 races, could have won 10 last year. So you know Drew Webb's coming. He just doesn't have the early season speed, but the fact that he's where he is right now in the points, you know he's going to get better. It's a pretty good chance Drew Webb's going to end up making the chase and getting some wins as the season rolls along. How about Matt Tuck and Rogel Dorn? These two guys have a lot of speed here later in this run. Now, if we get a green flag cycle, this is going to get interesting. Because of the fall-off, do you want to pit earlier, or do you want to pit later and maybe get a run at the end? Of course, it's only going to be maybe about 15 laps. I don't know, what should the strategy be for these guys trying to get this race victory here at Texas?
It's going to be honestly really hard to tell because, I mean, if the race went green and the pit cycle happened about right in the middle, it would honestly be kind of a toss-up because you can pit early and make up the time right then and there, but then you'd fall off a lot earlier and lose time in the long run. And then, of course, the guys that stay out longer would lose time in the short run, but then gain it back in the long run. But it's going to be interesting to see in this case because there won't be as much time left. So, wonder if a lot of these guys will maybe try to come in a little bit earlier than usual.
Ooh, that was very interesting. I'm wondering if he checked up there. Nicholas Samedeo there through the tri-oval because F41 got to the inside of him and just whizzed right by. I think he did just check up. I think that was on purpose. I don't think there's an issue, but that caught my attention right there, and while we were focusing on him, that was kind of interesting. How about Travis Crampton? He's moving his way up near the top 10. Laura Chung also strong late in this run, and De Oliveira with a solid run here today as well on that 57. We definitely have certain drivers who have a lot more speed. Yeah, you do not want to be on that outside lane through the tri-oval. Drew Webb as well. You really have to check up if you go double wide through there, and we're at the point where the tires are worn out so much that you just can't risk being on the outside lane, and that's why if you get past, you lose 5 or 6 positions. Ruggle Dorn all over the back bumper of his teammate.
I got really scared there.
And he's still fine.
I got really scared there.
Caution's out again.
For a second. Oh, caution!
Oh my goodness. It just doesn't end, does it? We got a huge pile-up. Huge pile-up in turn 4, and I don't know what happened here. But unfortunately, Ace Garcia is caught up. I mean, you just can't if you're Ace Garcia at this point. I just don't know. We had a big one in turn 4 in the back of the field, and Logan Williams also caught up. I mean, you talk about two guys who have some of the worst luck in this year. I mean, Logan's got 2 very big wins. I mean, won the Southern 500 last year. But I tell you, he has not been able to get off to the right foot this year. And if Ace Garcia, I tell you, I mean, what does it take for a guy to finish a race? That is such a shame for him. All right, well, it's going to shake things up because now we're going to be able to make it to the end of the race from here. And, you know, you definitely want to be the one who wins the race off the pit lane. All these guys are going to take 4 tires. They need it to get to the end of this race. And we're going to have about 20 laps to go on the restart. Ludovic Charette leads us to the pit stops, I should say. Won the race back to the line. We'll see if he does, in fact, lead us to the green flag. A lot of strong guys who had good runs near the end of all that. This 51 machine looking to win the race off. Of course, the downside for him, he doesn't have that first pit stall. Braden Perez a little bit further up right there. Jack Haas looking to beat off Rogel Dorn. And it will be Ludovic Charette winning the race off. Jack Haas, Rogel Dorn, Brady Mardi Gras, Nicholas Samedeo, Matt Tuck, Laura Chung, great run for her. And then Blaine Keys, Drew Webb. You know, the stars of the series are starting the rise to the top here, and I think that's what we're seeing here today, and I had a feeling we were going to see that here today. But also some of the stars getting caught up in that big one in turn number 4. I don't know what happened, but let's go ahead and see what happened to bring up the second caution of the day here in the Interstate Batteries 400 at Texas. And there's just nowhere for these guys to go. Matthew Hubert was right behind that when it happened. Daniel Paulus Jr. as well. It's a tough break for those guys, especially Daniel because he was running very well. And then Logan Williams, oh man, Logan, he tried. And Hubert and Diacomo got into it, and Logan got caught up right with those guys. Wrong place, wrong time, and you got a lot of cars coming through here. In the back of the field, more specifically, they're going to get caught up as Logan comes back down the racetrack. All those guys are fine. But it's right here, Chase Buck. Ooh, boy, that was a hard side swipe right there. And then you got Fitzwater, Ace Garcia there in the 44. Tanner Parton, Brad Stover up here. Buck comes back up, and that's where Garcia gets hit. Brad Stover in the 88, also nowhere to go. The 50 machine of Christian Master, Avery Alford, they get tangled right in the Brian Webb in the 13. The 11 machine of Brandon Nelson gets spun around. Roberto Crown Jr., Philip Torres, Jesse Turner in the middle of all this. I think Turner actually avoids it. And how about LJ Cimento? Justin Zaidel? Ah, man, it's the second one for Zaidel. Just a tap for Zaidel. He's able to continue on from that. Got tapped there by Zayden Davidson. Man, that's just such a shame, you know. Just the wrong place in the wrong time. And that's a very NR2003-esque crash right there. One car gets spun around into a corner, and they kind of slide back up, and all those guys are racing back to the line, and that's exactly the result that we expect from something like that. Tough break for all those guys, and especially Ace Garcia, who once again fails to finish. I don't know what you do if you're Ace Garcia at this point, and Millennium Motorsports, but hey, just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, and let's see how it ends up shaking out as this race goes along. Let's go ahead and replay that one more time and get back to racing here in the Interstate Batteries 400.
Gonna see here, going down the backstretch, Bruno Giacomo. Right there goes the engine, and Hubert and Paulus Jr. get a windshield of smoke, and fortunately going to go right into the path of Logan Williams. Slides down, nowhere for any of these guys to go. Hardly any time for any of these guys to get it slowed down, especially once this kart's getting big. And yeah, honestly, just this wreck probably just epitomizes wrong place at the wrong time, because that's pretty much the situation that about everybody in this wreck was involved in, but tough break for all of these guys.
Absolutely, and hey, you know, we got through all the replays there of that wreck, so we're all good with that, and we saved the replay of the race as we always do. So let's see how it all goes down. We got ourselves 20 laps to go here in the Interstate Batteries 400. Ludovic Charette leads the field here at the Texas Motor Speedway. We are back here at the Texas Motor Speedway, and my golly, been a lot of carnage this year in the Wawa Cup Series, I'll tell you that much. I think we've only had 2 caution-free races, obviously one of those being the road course at COTA and then Las Vegas earlier on in the season. Otherwise, it's been a lot going on, and you're going to see it right there. 10 cars knocked out from that accident. Philip Torres, the 50 machine of Christian Master, Brad Stover, Ace Garcia, of course, we saw him get caught up in that one, Logan Williams, Chase Buck, Bruno Giacomo, Zachary Fitzwater, Tanner Parton, and maybe one of the bigger ones there, Brian Webb in the 13. Going to finish dead last after coming into this race second in points. 30 cars still on the racetrack, all 30 of them still on the lead lap. I don't think we have anyone on the racetrack with significant damage, so pretty much all the guys who were caught up in that got knocked out, which is good for the rest of this race. Ludovic Charette leads the field in the 51. He's been the dominant guy so far in this one, but Jack Haas has been strong. Rogel Dorn, you know, is strong. Brady Mardi Gras, his teammate. And then, you know, you got the veterans here. Nicholas Amadio, Matt Tuck, Laura Chung trying for her first ever win. The winner of this race a year ago, Blake Keys, the defending champion, Drew Webb. And let's throw in Bryce Egan for good measure in that top 10. Here we go. 20 to go in the Interstate Batteries 400 at Texas, and a good jump there for Ludovic.
A really good restart there by Charette, but Jack Haas also got going pretty well. Isn't too far behind, trying to reel the 51 back in. Oh boy, got a lot of movement back here as that's going to put the Blankies in the 41 underneath the 55 of Laura Chung, trying to take that spot away. Might try to get under the 51 of Tuck as well. Not quite going to get there. How about back there? The 98 of Travis Crampton trying to get his way into the top 10.
Somebody had an issue.
Crampton
Somebody had an issue. I think it might be Turner in the 82. Because that pack split up.
Oh, boy.
And they will get around him. And guess who got caught up in that? That's Braden Perez. Remember, he was one of those guys who was up front before all this happened, and now he's going to fall to the back of the field because of Turner's issue. I think that's a tire going down on that 82 machine, and he's going to bring it down the pit lane right here. But, oh boy, there you go. That's all you got to do. Jack Haas to the inside for the race lead. And guess what? The top 10, or should I say top 12, they pulled away. They've got a gap on the rest of the field right now, and if this thing stays green, it's going to be one of these 12 going to victory lane here today. They're still side by side. Jack Haas, Ludovic Charette for the race lead. Rogel Dorn is here. Matt Tuck is here, and you know what? Don't count out Blaine Keys in this one. He's coming on strong here, and all these guys right under a blanket. They got to be careful not to get into each other. They're still side by side as Jack Haas leads lap 50. And we've got ourselves only 17 laps to go here at Texas. Rogel Dorn's right here. Blaine Keys. And these fresh tires are giving us some great racing. And how about Ludovic on the outside? They're still side by side for the race lead.
Charette putting up the fight of his life there on the outside of Jack Haas. They're still going to stay side by side, but Haas finally going to clear that 51 off of turn number 4. That was an incredible side by side battle there. And now, unfortunately, Charette's going to check up a little bit there in the tri-oval. And it's going to see the spot up there to the 74 of Rogel Dorn. And here comes Blaine Keys as they're 3 wide behind. Travis Crampton in the 98. Where did he come from? Crampton, I know Travis. He's got a chip on his shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
Dakota, and honestly, NS Racing in general, definitely hungry for some good runs this season, because they have not had some good luck at all between any of their drivers.
And Turner
really
in the 82 still out there.
No.
I think he just came off the pit lane. I don't think he's slow, but that held up the 39, and now Blaine Keys has taken the race lead away. Rogaldor and Ladovic right back on the inside lane. Yeah, that 82 is back up to speed. They got the tire fixed. It just came out right in front of the leaders. Oh my goodness, it's one thing after another in this series, isn't it? Well, Blaine Keys now out front. Here comes Ladovic back to the inside of Jack Oz for third. Matt Tuck, Travis Tram's trying to rebound there as well. And Blaine Keys trying to hold on to this race lead. Now, that 82 has slightly fresher tires, and that might make things a little interesting here because these guys are faster in general, but their tires are worn out just a little bit here as we've gone into this run. Rogaldorn is second. You know, I feel like this 74 might be your race winner, as this 74 machine's got a lot of speed, and once we're all said and done, I feel like Rogaldorn might be standing in victory lane because he's got so much speed in that team. This is the kind of race that'll win. The way things have gone this season, but Ladovic, I know he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's not happy about losing that race lead after dominating earlier on. He's got a huge run on Rogel right there, as they're still kind of stuck behind Turner right here. And Ladovic's going to take second away from the 40-74, I should say. And Blaine Keys going to hold on to the race lead, and I know he would love to get around Turner here and put a lap car in between him and Charette for that race lead.
41 now. Ooh, trying to look there to the inside of the 82 of Turner. He's going to get down to the inside, but Turner holding strong on that outside, and especially if the 82 appears to potentially be the stronger car, these two do not want to go side by side, as that's probably going to stall both of them out. But the 51, Ladovic Charette gaining and gaining on the 41 of Blaine Keys. He's right to the back bumper through 3 and 4. Down the front straightaway. Keys trying to open up that gap just a little bit, but Charette is still right there, as here comes Rogaldorn back to the inside of Jack Haas for third.
And there's so many guys who could easily win this race. I got to give such a shout out to the Bryce Egan. I mean, look at who he's racing around right here. Race winners, champions, all the guys he is racing with right now have won a Wawa Cup Series race, except for Ladovic Charette, who has won a championship on the channel. And here he is running with the big dogs here today at Texas. And you know what? I think he might finally have a good run going for him here, and he might finally get to really show what he's worth here this season. And then you got a little bit of a split right there between Marty Gras, or Sam Idio, De Oliveira, Laura Chung, Travis Cramden, Trey Barcho, and Andrew Miller have actually rejoined those guys. And Thomas Trout's trying to rebound a little bit and move his way through the field. And Blaine Keys trying to get around Turner right here. I think he's going to finally do so, and that's going to make it easier for Blaine to win this race. Ladovic, you know he wants to finally get that Cup Series win. And you know what? You can't count this guy out either. Matt Tuck in the 54. Not a good entry into the corner, though, as Jack Oz gets to the outside of him. Ladovic's going to try to get around Turner, and I think if he can clear him, he might still have a shot on this 41.
Oh, that's not good, though. Charette wasn't able to clear. That's going to stall him out just a bit, but he is going to clear through 3 and 4. Rogaldorn in the 74 is going to follow Charette through and clear the 82. I think this might come down to these three guys right here. Egan, Tuck, Webb, and them might still have a shot, but they got to make quick work of that 82, who is still really quick. But yeah, I think Keys, Charette, and Dorn might be the ones we want to watch out for this finish. But just as I say that, Dorn has a really bad turns 1 and 2, and he is actually going to fall back behind the 82. So this might honestly come down to just Keys and Charette here. Yeah,
it's starting to look that way now because they're putting a huge gap on the rest of the field right here as they're still stuck behind Turner and using up their tires to do so. You know, we saw the runs that we saw in the Sprint Series race, Elimination Series race. You can be a good 5 car lengths behind coming to the white flag and still easily catch up to the guy ahead of you because it's that much of a narrow groove here at Texas, but Blaine Keys, he's in command right now, and he controls the outcome of this race because that 51, you know what? He's getting hunted right there by that 82 of Jesse Turner, and we're going to have to see if Turner gets back around him here because if that's the case, Blaine Keys may go back-to-back at Texas here in the Wawa Cup Series. And you know what? This was a driver early on in the season who I knew was going to be strong going into it. Racing Motorsports, obviously, they showed a lot of speed last year, late in the going. Didn't get a race victory until Daytona. But now that they got Blaine Keys behind the wheel, you know how good Blaine Keys was last year. it's no surprise to see Blaine Keys run this well here at Texas. And keep in mind, he was the dominant guy at Las Vegas as well, our last mile and a half. And I think this is something we might see out of Blaine Keys as the season rolls along. But it's not over yet. Even though he's got 3/4 of a second, Ludovic Charette is still ahead of Turner right here. But that 51 may have used up his stuff right here. And you know what? We might be done. But hey, it ain't over till it's over. You know that very well, Caleb. And after what we saw at the Bristol Motor Speedway, we saw the Coda. Who knows? And Ludovic might be able to find some speed here. He did gain a little bit of time right there, but he's only got 4 laps to do it here at Texas.
I think something we could be potentially seeing here is, you know, with Jets Turner coming back into pit, I think we're getting to that point now where these guys' tires are getting really, really worn here. The grip is really falling off, and Turner, his tires might still be okay, so he might be a bit quicker than these guys now, but honestly, right behind Jesse Turner, you've still got Rogel Dorn, and honestly, cue the Jaws theme. Drew Webb, right behind Dorn. He's fought his way through the top 10 these last couple laps. I don't know if he's going to be close enough to catch the 41 of Keys, but like you said, it's not over until it's over.
And Rogel Dorn getting to the inside of Turner might help Charette right here, but Charette's got to be careful not to let him to the inside right there. It's going to be 2 laps to go next time by for Blaine Keys in the 41. Ludovic Charette is trying to reel him in right here, and I just don't know if he's going to have enough. He got a little bit closer that time, but only 3 100ths. And you know what? He's not going to get to him at that rate, but it takes one little slip-up by Blaine Keys. He's not going to run into any lap cars. But if Ludovic finds the grip in the right place, he could reel him in. We saw that happen in the Sprint Series race. And Blaine's got to be careful here not to get out of line. Because, like I said, a very narrow groove racetrack. And Ludovic's closing in again. Here we go. White flag in the air. In the Interstate Batteries 400 for Blaine Keys. And Racing Motorsports. Aaron Abel looking to get his second win as an owner here in the Wawa Cup Series. Ludovic Charette trying to get his first as a driver for Grattan Autosport. Rogel Dorn trying to get his second of the season. And you got Drew Webb there in 4th. But Blaine out ahead in the 41. And Ludovic, I feel like, is just a little too far behind. And what a surprise. He's going to go back-to-back of the Texas Motor Speedway. It's Blaine Keys getting the job done in the Interstate Batteries 400. And I think a certain someone picked him to win as well.
Hey!
You got it. You got it, man. How about this team? How about Blaine Keys? And you know what? No surprise here. Got the win last year when it was a 500-miler. Of course, shortened the 25% of the length. He gets it done again as a 400-miler. And Blaine Keys is 2 for 2 at Texas Motor Speedway in the Wawa Cup Series. How about that? Ludovic Charette, man, that's a huge run for this team. They needed that. And Grattan Autosport as a whole, a double top 5 for him. And that's the speed we expect out of that team. Rogel Dorn in 3rd, Drew Webb finishing in 4th. And there was Jack Haas, Bryce Egan. How about Kirsten Bell there in 8th? And then Andrew Miller, Trey Barter rounding up the top 10. And Nicholas Samadillo fell back to 15th there. Not the best of runs for him right there. But how about Blaine Keys? You know, I don't think that's going to be his last win this season either. After what we saw in Las Vegas, what we saw here. And you look at that top 10, and those are 10 guys who are definitely guys to watch out for as the season rolls along. And, wow, how about that race, Caleb? You know, even though we had a lot of wrecks going on in the back of that big one that it took out a quarter of the field, what an excellent race up front. And it's good to see the race leaders just race it out the whole way through.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely an incredible race. And like you said, it might have been a bit messy towards the back, but the product we saw out in front was absolutely glorious, especially after that final restart there. It got absolutely nuts. But Blaine Keys getting his first win on the season, especially after that heartbreaker at Vegas, that is going to be really, really good for him and that team. But man, yeah, what an absolute crazy and incredible race that was.
I feel like we say that at the end of every Wawa Cup Series race now. And you know what? Next week we go to Talladega, so you know we're going to say that next week. Wow, what a race it was here at Texas. Blaine Keys, though, definitely had the speed at the end. There were some guys who had it early on that fell back. Daniel Paulus Jr., Braden Perez, of course, got stuck behind Turner when he had his tire issue. Of course, Turner finishing 30th. Not been a good season for him. And you see all the guys who got knocked out from the accident, including Ace Garcia and Logan Williams. and especially Ace Garcia, who finished dead last week at Martinsville from a tire issue and then got caught up in the accident here. I mean, I feel like that guy's got a lot more speed than what he has shown. He's just been wrecked out in pretty much every race this season. And, oh boy, Brian Webb there, he's going to fall back in the points as well after being so consistent early on. And then you got Thomas Troxel there finishing 14th. You know, he's going to hold on to the points lead with that run. And it wasn't his best race, but you know what? Races like that, those really play out in Troxel's favor. And you know what? He's going to remain the points leader. Trey Bartow, Jack Haas, both with top 10s. No surprise there, Rogel Dorn as well, and Matt Tuck, Ludovic Charette, double top 5 for Grattan Autosport. Those are guys you're going to see as the season rolls along. And of course, Drew Webb in the 99, who went from 40th to 4th in this race. And yeah, I think the Drew Webb arc is starting here in the Wawa Cup Series for 2024. Just keep an eye on him as we roll into the third of the season. Well, next week we had the Talladega. It's anybody's game there, but hey, Rogel Dorn's won there twice before, and with how consistent he's been, he may get it again at the Mountain Dew 500. Then we head to Dover, our home racetrack, my home racetrack at least, here in the Wawa Cup Series. That'll be a lot of fun. Then it's Kansas, Auto Club, North Wilkesboro, and the Coke 600 during Indy 250 week. We've got some of the best races of the year coming up here on the channel in the Wawa Cup Series, and I'm excited to see how it all goes down. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Caleb. Huge congratulations to Blaine Keys and Aaron Abel, owner of Racing Motorsports, are getting the race victory here today at the Texas Motor Speedway. And let's see how those points shake out after 10 races. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. On behalf of Caleb Rhodes, congratulations to Blaine Keys one last time, and I will see you guys later.